going to be sharing with you in this video 5 signs your higher self is communicating with you. Now, in this video, not only am I going to be sharing with you 5 signs that your higher self is communicating with you, but I'm going to be sharing with you, in my opinion, what the higher self actually is, what your higher self is, and how you can use this understanding to manifest your reality into existence in the most effortless and easeful way possible. So not only am I going to be sharing with you some signs to probably reinforce some experiences that you've been having in your life, but you might be able to take some things out of this video that's going to aid in your manifestation process, regardless of if any of these signs apply to you personally in your life. So with that being said, this is going to be 5 signs your higher self is communicating with you. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Now, number 1, the first thing that I want to share with you in regards to what the first sign is that your higher self is communicating with you is that number 1, you're experiencing negative emotion / resistance. Now, you might be a little bit confused. It's like, well, why would I be experiencing negative emotion / resistance if my higher self is communicating with me? It's interesting because if you're experiencing negative emotion / resistance, that is a perfect sign that your higher self is communicating with you. And I'm going to share with you right now why. Because when you're experiencing negative emotion / resistance, that's a good sign that your intuitive emotional guidance system, which is your own higher self, is telling you that something needs to shift, that something needs to change. Something is not exactly how it should be. Not that there's anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with negative emotions or resistance. Everything's fine. But it's a pointer. It's a message from your higher self. That's all a negative emotion really is it's a message telling you that something needs to be shifting in your current experience because something that you're doing is not totally in alignment with your higher self. That's what's happening, is that when you experience a big wave of resistance or negative emotion, you know what that is? That's your higher self communicating with you. Literally, that's what's happening. Your higher self, the highest wisdom of all that is telling you, hey, this thought that you're thinking or this action that you're taking or something that you're doing or something that you are in control of, that you have power to control, because there's some things you can't control, right? And that's what it is. But some things you can control, that if you have control over something and you're doing something that you have control over in your experience of consciousness that is causing resistance, which is what you can say is, in a way, self-inflicting harm or self-created suffering or moving in the opposite direction of what you prefer to be experiencing, that's literally your higher self looking out for you, giving you a nudge that something needs to shift. Now, what most people do is they call this a bad thing, and then they amplify that negative emotion even more, shifting into that timeline reality that's grounded in resistance, when all they had to do was see that their emotional guidance system was perfectly in check and that their higher self was actually communicating with them the whole time. So if you're experiencing negative emotion, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a perfect, amazing sign that your higher self is communicating with you and telling you that just something needs to shift, and it's just that simple. And number 2, the second sign your higher self is communicating with you is energy-giving activities are coming up to the surface. Energy-giving activities. Now, what does this mean? This means that you may have had certain activities in your life in the past that were taking energy from you, and you didn't realize it at the time. Maybe they served you at some point, but they stopped serving you and you weren't quite conscious of that. But that's fine. You still did those things. And maybe you believe that they served you, but they weren't. But you still had to perhaps learn through that contrast, which is fine. We won't get into that too much right now in this video in terms of what that process was for and why it all happened. I'm sure you can intuit already that, doing things that take energy are just there for you to learn lessons so that you don't do it again. That's all that is. When you're doing something that takes energy and you do it long enough, eventually you say to yourself, well, this is just not working, and you let it go naturally. And that's how life actually works. And as a bonus, that's how you cure pretty much any problem in your life, is just to see that it's not working. Versus forcing yourself to try to let go of something because I read it in a book somewhere that I have to let it go. And the solution is to actually say, wait a second, it's just not working anymore, so you just let it go. But if you're realizing that energy-giving activities are coming up, so for example, personally for me, when I was dropping out of school about 2 years ago to start my online business and to start my YouTube channel and to create the life that I truly wanted, that was coming from my heart and from what my soul, so to speak, wanted to create, what my higher self wanted to create through me, I guess is one way to look at it, is that it was so obvious that when I was in school, it would take energy from my body. And I could have rationalized it in many different ways. I could have said that, maybe I needed to work harder, maybe I needed to, push harder in school. And I could have, I'm sure I had the capability. I even told this to so many people and my family and all my friends at the time. I said, you know what? I could force myself to do this. I know I have the knowledge. I know I have the wisdom to complete this thing in school, but it's just not for me. It was just taking energy from me. I have so much, this was my thought process at the time. I have so much knowledge, so much wisdom, so much, and it's not coming from a place of ego, but I was becoming conscious of my power and how much I could create, and all this energy that I could create anything that I want with, and then there I was, channeling it into something that I don't really care about. So what that did was, that was clearly creating this negative motion in my body that was just telling me, drop out of school and focus on what's obviously so clearly giving you more energy in comparison to this thing that I was doing that was taking energy from me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm willing to bet that you have something in your life that is also the same if you've been vibrationally attracted to this video. You might have some activities coming up in your life, that might be coming in your life, that are so obviously lighting up your soul, giving you energy, expanding your experience of life, making you perceive more of life, making your emotions, making you more emotional if that's what you want. It's just enhancing your experience of life. And then maybe, on the contrary, it's becoming very clear everything that is not that. Anything that's not that, any passion that you found, any activity, whether it's meditation, whether it's your passion, whether it's talking to somebody, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, it matters how you feel when you're doing that thing. On the contrary, you might find the complete contrast of that also coming up. That's a huge sign that your higher self is nudging you in the direction of your soul's mission and what you're meant to be doing. Now, I believe that we are creators and that we create our own destiny. But your higher self does, in a way, in my opinion, have a plan for you, which is going to be the best thing you've ever wanted, that you might not even know you want right now, plus the best thing that other people want as well, and you both get it together. It's what I call the win-win dynamic. It's where you win and everybody else wins. See, when you're doing an energy-giving activity that's boosting your energy, that's what you call a win-win activity. Because you're getting energy from that. Simultaneously, somebody else is benefiting from that because you're getting energy from that. You're not taking energy, you've learned how to master your energy system where you can just get energy without taking energy. You receive energy without taking energy from the other. And this is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And if you're having these activities come up to the surface, your higher self's probably nudging you to go live into those just a little bit more. Now, number 3, the third sign that your higher self is communicating with you is you're seeing repeating numbers / synchronicity. Now, one thing I'll tell you right now is that I don't personally see repeating numbers that much anymore, simply because, for one reason, I'm just not focused on it. Because I know that I don't need the numbers to be in my true power. But I don't want to discourage you if you're seeing those numbers. I still see them from time to time, but I remember that when I was going through my awakening, I was so shocked because I was seeing these repeating numbers everywhere that I was going. There was repeating numbers on license plates. There was repeating numbers on YouTube. I was seeing it pop up on my phone at ridiculous times that, when you're that conscious, numbers. And I'm not saying this from an ego place. I'm just saying it because you're probably having similar experiences if you've been attracted to this video. If you're that conscious that you're noticing those synchronicities, you know for a fact that it's not a coincidence and that nobody can convince you otherwise. You know that it's a message from your own higher self. Now, one thing I'll share as well, though, is that these repeating numbers can mean different things to different people. So for one person, it could be their spirit guide contacting them if that's what they believe in that moment, and that's what they're sort of tuning into in the infinite quantum field of all that is. For other people, what repeating numbers mean is just simply that those numbers are reflecting to them the power of their attention and how their attention creates their own personal reality, and that the universe conspires in shifts to your attention and what it is that you're focusing on in this present moment. So you might be saying to yourself, I see repeating numbers everywhere that I go. And then you start to see those repeating numbers. It's almost like the universe is just showing you what you focus on grows. Energy flows where attention goes. So the numbers are kind of showing you, you could think of it as like an external universe or actual guide supporting you. You could also think of it as a reflection of your own thoughts and your own reality creation being manifested as the external world because of your inner state of being, which means that it's not really anything outside of you. It's you creating your reality and your own creation reflecting your own power, which you don't want to give away your power to some spirit guides, although I do believe that when you see repeating numbers, that can be one reason why you're seeing those numbers. I just wanted to highlight the significance of the fact that these numbers, regardless of whatever reason that you might be seeing these numbers and the deeper nuances of what these numbers mean, whether it's a spirit guide, if that's what you're into and that's what you're experiencing, and I've been into this before too and I still am, it's just not particularly relevant for me and significant in this moment because I'm more about tapping into my power and creating from that space of sovereignty and understanding that I am a creator. But still, repeating numbers can be powerful. So regardless of what the reason is, it's a huge sign that your higher self, the higher self, is communicating with you. Now, I think this is a good point in the video to talk about what is the higher self before I go into point number 4. The higher self, and notice how I said the higher self, not necessarily your higher self, but the higher self is simply the all that is, everythingness that exists in this present moment. It's the isness of this present moment. Now, it's everything that exists. So everything that can exist does exist. And the higher self actually wants you to manifest your reality into existence in the most effortless way possible. The universe actually wants you to create everything you wanted. It's not spiritual, in my opinion, to not be abundant, to not manifest your reality. That's not spirituality, okay? Spirituality is about infinite abundance, in my opinion. It's just me. You don't have to subscribe to that. That's just me, right? In this present moment, I accept everything, but I also know that I am worthy of everything that I want, and that's exactly what I manifest into my life because of that perspective that I hold. You don't have to take on that perspective, but that is my perspective. So when you're getting a nudge from your higher self in whatever way, it's always pointing you to more abundance, to more infinity, to more of all that is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical manifestation. It could be genuinely like an insight about spirituality or God and the infinity of all that is. But it doesn't contradict physical desires either. And whatever the case is, the higher self is communicating with you in each moment to nudge you into the direction of your highest vision and your highest purpose. Everything that you've ever wanted to manifest in a win-win way that you win and the other person wins, and it also spiritually aligns you with things that are beyond physical manifestation. And it is the most powerful thing that you can possibly be conscious of, because this is really the core of what existence is about. And if you can do this more consciously, you're going to have a much better time manifesting your reality into existence. Now, that's what I wanted to share really quickly about the higher self. It's just simply the all that is, the everythingness of all that is, that wants you to experience the best possible life, to get the most out of this experience that we have called life. Now, number 4 is that you feel more connected. Whatever that means to you. See, connection to yourself can be different for each person. For me, connection to myself means feeling how I personally choose to feel, mastering my inner state of being in each moment, mastering my thought processes, not to control my thoughts, but to receive the thoughts that I know are in alignment with what I feel is in resonance, and then to amplify those thoughts even more. That's a good sign of spiritual progress, by the way, is can you give attention only to what you prefer to see from a space of unconditional love. That's what creates that feeling of connection. But anyways, we'll talk about that later on. But if you feel more connected, we'll talk about it probably in another video. If you feel more, and let me know if you want to talk about, if you want me to talk about that video, leave a comment down below. You feel more connected. If you feel more connected, your higher self is definitely communicating with you, trying to tell you that whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it. When you feel connected, when you feel good, when you feel in alignment, when you feel like things are flowing, when you feel like everything is good, it's very easy to think, oh my God, something's wrong, and then create a negative story, and then to shift into a negative timeline. Whereas your feelings and your state of being, it's not really a feeling, it's more of a state of being. It's a better word really to really explain what it is that's truly happening here, but your feelings are a part of it, I guess. You can't really exclude feelings from your state of being. Everything is a feeling really at the end of the day. But anyways, if you have that connection to your state of being, that's literally your higher self telling you whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It doesn't care. It's not about good or bad, or is it wrong? Is it right? Should I be doing something else? No. If you feel connected, then keep doing it. Because that's what life is about. It's about how connected do you feel to yourself. That's what you're doing really, by the way. That's what this game of life is you're here to build a deeper connection with yourself. That's all it is. That's what's happening. If you're doing it through money manifestation, you're seeking more connection, more integration, more wholeness. That's what your higher self is pointing you to. More wholeness, more integration, more love, more unity, more consciousness. So if you're doing anything that assists in that, you will feel that in your body, in your state of being. The higher self will say, keep doing that in the form. That message will come literally in the form of your body. This is why I wanted to stress the whole numbers thing, because if you can master your internal state of being and your what I call your intuitive emotional guidance system, you don't need a repeating number to know your power. You don't need to, because the repeating numbers, what they can do is you can start to question yourself and think like, oh my gosh, well, if I'm not seeing any repeating numbers, that might mean I'm out of alignment with my highest vision. And that I used to have that problem a couple years ago until I realized that the numbers are a reflection of me, not the other way around. It's not that the numbers are pointing you to follow them. It's that they're messaging you, telling you that what you're already doing is something that you should keep doing. Have you ever considered that? That the signs that you're getting are just telling you that what you have already been doing is a good thing? Versus you thinking that I need to follow some external guidance because I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. You know exactly what you're doing. You're so powerful. You feel more connected because you're doing something. And if you're doing something that's making you feel more connected, I encourage you to keep doing that and to keep following that upward spiral of consciousness and manifestation. And you'll see that everything you want comes into your life also in a way that honors the outer intention of others, and it creates what I call a win-win dynamic. Now, number 5, what I want to share with you is you're realizing that your thoughts create your reality. That's the 5th sign that your higher self is communicating with you, is that you're realizing that your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts are so powerful that you might not even see it, but if you do see it, then that's powerful, and you probably are seeing it, because if you're attracted to this video, then there's a very good chance that you already are seeing it. Now, what I want to share with you is that if you realize that your thoughts create your reality, it's a huge sign that the higher self or your higher self is literally giving you downloads from the higher consciousness realms, showing you something. What you focus on grows, okay? And what your thoughts are, whatever thoughts you're thinking will manifest into existence. I want you to keep this in mind, that your thoughts are so powerful, they do manifest into existence. And I encourage you to, if you haven't noticed this, start to notice how whatever you're thinking about does start to shift in your external world. There is, you could say that there's an actual truth that exists beyond your thoughts, but the actuality of this present moment also shifts according to what you're thinking. So it's an interesting thing because there is the actuality of this present moment and what's real, so to speak. But what's real and unreal, that boundary starts to break down a little bit when you become conscious of who you truly are as a creator. Real and unreal are they're kind of subjective, to be honest with you, because when you focus on something and you create that reality, for you that is real. And if somebody creates some other reality that's based on fear, for them it's also real. And you could argue that one reality is more real than another reality, or I guess more connected to the wholeness of all that is. But even with that being said though, how do you really quantify that? We won't get into that in this video. Again, let me know in the comments down below if you want to hear more about that. I would love to talk about that. How to quantify levels of consciousness. Is there really one way of life that's more in alignment with the higher self than another way? Leave a comment down below. I would love to talk about that. But what I want to share with you is that if you're seeing that your thoughts are reflecting into your external world, your higher self is telling you that you are a powerful manifesting powerhouse that can create anything it wants. Anything you want, you can manifest it, because those thoughts that you're thinking are more potent now because of your level of consciousness and your connection to yourself. When you have a connection to yourself in a way that you've never had before, your thoughts are going to amplify even more than they previously did in your life. And that's the higher self telling you, hey, your thoughts are manifesting. So what are you going to be focusing on? What are you going to focus on? Are you going to be focusing on what you want to create? Are you going to be sloppy with your thinking? Are you going to take responsibility over your thoughts? Most people don't want to take responsibility over their thoughts. You got to take responsibility over your thoughts. The higher self wants you to take responsibility over your sovereignty and power. Your thoughts are powerful. You know, some people think like, oh, I don't want to monitor my thoughts all day. I don't want to control my thinking. You're going to be thinking either way, all right? But are you going to take responsibility over that tool, or are you going to make the, or do you want the tool to control you? I'm not saying that you have to think all day. I don't think that much in my day. But when I do think, it's exactly connected to what I want to manifest. And it's assisting me in what I want to create. And the reason I was able to get to that point is because the higher self, my higher self, the higher self showed me that what I'm thinking instantly starts to shift my internal state of being. That's literally what is happening here. And the higher self will point you in that direction as much as possible until you realize my thoughts are shifting my experience. And once you realize that, that's a huge sign that your higher self is communicating with you. Now that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Also, if you want to try my free guided meditation to expand your heart and accelerate your manifestations and bring in what you want in the fastest way, in the most easiest way, in the most effortless way possible, then that free guided meditation, absolutely free, will be in the description box and in the comments of this video as well. Also, please hit that like button if you want, so that more people can get access to this content, because I do believe that every single person on this planet does deserve to know that they are the creators of their reality, and that they can do so and they can manifest their reality in the most effortless and easeful way possible. And hitting that like button does help the algorithm push the channel to more people, and it does help more people get access to what I believe to be very valuable content. Now, as always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next